Now, the greatest story never told with Miles and Thrill.
28 episodes.
That's what I hear.
You'd have thought that they'd have fired us by now, right? How many stories of debauchery can we get into?
There's probably hundreds, but as we said, certain stories we just can't tell because either the statute of limitations or the timeline would be bad.
That is correct. By the way, if you heard a commercial at the beginning of the podcast, we do not know if they ran one. But either way, if you would like to be an unofficial official sponsor of the greatest story never told, do us a favor. Just go to fisherhouse.org, make a donation to the Fisher House, and just send us a receipt, and then you will become the official sponsor of the greatest story never told. Just that easy.
Just that easy, man.
It's been a week since we had anybody donate, and I realize the times are what they are, so we understand that as well. But if you want to sponsor this thing, just head to their website and just make a donation. You don't have to say why or anything like that. Just say, hey, just want to help out the people who do tremendous work at the Fisher House. Okay, so one of the things that we like to do is drink. And we make it a point to try to get together at least once or twice a week and just kind of break down what we're doing on the show, come up with ideas, gives us a good, we called it a green light. You know, we'd be able to get out of the house. In other words, did you get the green light from the wife? Is she good on you going out? Do you have anything going on?
Because she knows what's going to happen. We're going to do drugs. We're going to drink a lot.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
notebooks,
anytime,
pen, and you just write down any idea you've got, knowing that 98% of it the next day is just stupid.
And with Steve, you know, and I'm the devil as far as his wife is concerned.
Not so much anymore. She's gotten hip to the fact that perhaps we are simply too. It used to be, because, you know, when you're first dating, you don't want people to know exactly the kind of scumbag you are. But inevitably, when I came home in bad shape or there's some explaining to do or there may be legal ramifications, inevitably I had been out with Miles. And it's not that anything was Miles' fault, but I never said that it wasn't. Never said that it was. So at some point, probably for about 12 years, and she would just say it absently, like, well, are you and the devil going out tonight? And she was speaking, of course, of Miles.
And what would happen was, even if we were out with Ted or whatever, Ted maybe had some other plans or he was going to meet somebody or whatever if we go out early.
He wasn't the devil.
No, Ryan Castle, he hits
I don't know how he wasn't the devil.
He hits this wall, though, where he's like, I got to go, and Ryan's gone. You know, but typically, you know, with Ryan, when we're all together and all this stuff is going on as normal, well, Ryan gets off the air too, and then he typically, if he's not doing something with
record labels or whatever,
going to, because the band's in town and they're playing that night, so they're going to, you know, they've already interviewed everybody during the day here at the radio station. They're going to go out, so he'll start, you know, 3 or 4 o'clock because those guys eat a little bit early because, you know, basically they're going to get hyped up and go do a show, whatever. So he's ahead of us.
And it's obvious because he'll text us like, as soon as you get off there, meet me at blank.
Meet us here. Yeah.
All right, cool. We get there, and it's like, exactly how much have you had to drink? And I ask this because I'm sitting across from you, but every time you talk to me, you're looking completely over there.
Right, yeah. So we do have, but strangely enough, Steve can go longer and later than I can, but we do a pretty good job together of being able to drink a lot more than the average human being who could hang with someone else. So it does get to the point where someone should have gone home 2 hours ago. We're still fine. We're still drinking.
Well,
we're just going to deal with it tomorrow.
I don't know that we're fine.
We're not fine, but
we agree.
We're okay.
Deal with it in the morning, man.
So we find this little cool bar that's kind of not a secret bar, but a bar you wouldn't know about even as a general Seattleite in 2007.
You probably wouldn't know that it's there.
No.
We didn't know it was there, but we had a coworker at the time who introduced us to it.
Yeah. The hotel downtown was the old Red Lion. Which is something else now with a much cooler name like Mauve or something like that.
Is it Mauve?
Basically, they took an old hotel.
Motif.
They made it a lot better. Yeah, Motif Mauve.
Which is what a lot of people wanted in the black community before we had dental work.
So they had, Jesus. Thanks for listening to the greatest story. Yeah. So then we
Motif. I love Motif.
So we find this bar in this hotel. The hotel has a bar downstairs. A very nice bar, by the way. If you're ever on Fifth and walking up, there used to be an old red phone booth, like an old British style phone booth, and used to be called the Elephant something. But that's a great bar downstairs.
The Castle and Elephant, or the Elephant and Castle.
Either
I don't
way,
remember the order.
Yeah, they have their own tap beer. They're actually a pretty good place. But we're living downtown, and we're kind of looking for these places where we can find a new place to drink, and like anything else, whatever the scene is, you whatever it is, you change the scenery, change the pace. Let's walk here. Let's go here. We know this place exists because we've been there before, and it's awesome. There's this back deck, and at the time,
it's elevated.
You can look out on the Puget Sound. It's on the 6th floor, 7th floor of this building. So it is actually a hidden gem, and the only
It's
people
great.
who would really even know it is if you stayed in the hotel and went, oh, the pool and the gym is on the 6th floor. Like, you'd never go there unless you saw a bar restaurant on this
Right.
floor, random floor, whatever. So we'd been there once before, twice before, but it's a sunny day. It's Seattle. Things have broken, 65 degrees, 70 degrees. Let's go to this bar because we know we can sit outside. We'll do some work, blah, blah, blah.
And we're pretty familiar with the bartenders, which
So-
came in very handy as far as this played out.
So we walk up, we get off the elevator, we get in there, and there's a sign that's there's nobody inside. So we walk up to the bartender. He's like, "Yeah, they're having a private party, but he's like, I can't really serve you, but it's on their tab. Like, just
Well, what we asked was this, because he said, listen, guys, there's a convention in town, and it's a private party, so they closed the bar, and they're outside, and they have free beer and music. There's like a jazz band playing, whatever. So we said, okay. And he's like, so sorry, but we weren't done. We said, well, listen, if it's a convention, none of these people are going to know who the hell we are. Do you care if we just join them? And he was like, look, you didn't hear it from me, but I saw nothing. So we're like, all right. There were the name tags, hello, right? And we wrote down whatever names. And keep in mind, because it's a convention, everyone there is introducing themselves
Sure.
to each other. So all we did was ask them, what are they in town for? Because we can play this garbage, whatever it is.
they're in town for a landscaping
Yes.
type of convention.
Perfect.
Okay, so for your home, for whatever, and so it's more individual business owners who are trying to expand their. Whether it is a stand-up lawnmower, whether it are tree trimmers, whether it's just a web application where people
Stuff
can go
you buy in spring from Home Depot
Yeah.
and Lowe's, right? They're there. But again,
seeds.
we knew that much. We knew that all of the alcohol was free and that there's a band playing.
Yeah, correct. So we go out on the deck and we start getting hammered. We start talking to people, and we're kind of in that feeling it out phase. Like, okay, well, how long is this convention going on? Obviously, we don't look like the regular people here at all. I mean, not like that we were out of place, but
They were just more dressed
if they were
like
there
they're
for,
at a convention.
if they were there for 2 or 3 days, they've recognized that we're not people that they've seen before.
But again, remember, they have free alcohol.
Yeah.
So we are, when we say we're drinking, like we are drinking
And
copious
I don't think that
amounts.
we realize how out of place we look sometimes because he's black and I'm white. So we go to Bartell the other day, and a woman behind the counter is like, "You guys are undercover." And I'm like, "Oh, you mean undercover agents?" Because we work right beside the police station. Convenient. And I'm like, "No, but that's not the first time that's not the first time someone said."
I don't know
that
if you noticed, Mike, black and white people cannot be friends unless they
No,
work together
exactly.
as
Something
undercover
like-
agents.
Yeah, exactly. So we've already been flagged on that. But either way, we start talking to people, having really good conversation actually, because there's no way we can just sit by ourselves. You have to be at a table
Right. It's all
with other
social
people. You
seating.
know what I'm saying? It's not like, and there's beer tubs and sunny day. It's wonderful. So we come up with this ploy that basically that we work for a company
Camelon.
that has come up with a strain of grass. And you can do it. By the way, you can do anything you want with plants. That's why broccoli exists. The banana exists. Like you can modify things. You can have a purple flower. You name it. Rhododendrons. You can make them any color. You can come up with a strand in the seed that'll do this. So we said our ploy was the reason we were there was that we had come up with a strain of grass that would only grow 1 inch to 1.5 inches high. That is the highest it would grow, and you would never need to cut your lawn.
Sure,
The problem-
you're in the lawnmower business. We get it, man. We're not trying to put you
Right.
out of business, but let's face it.
This is
people's
inconvenient.
lawn-
Most people don't want to cut their
by the
grass.
way,
like a zoysia, where you never have to really cut it because it's a ground growing.
but you
grass.
get questions. So one of the questions is, well, we can't explain how we did it because that stuff's proprietary. So until it's officially launched, we can't explain
Yeah,
it.
and-
People buy into that hook,
And we had
line,
to genetically
and sinker.
modify our formula on this because the original patent we had for this, the 3 major lawn mowing companies
They bought
in
it,
the United
destroyed.
States, they in a group bought out our patent.
So they
that
could
would be
destroy it.
Toro, Lawn Boy, and Honda.
And by the way, people gave us a lot of sympathy for that.
Okay.
People were like,
But-
wow,
but,
man.
But the problem was it wasn't registered our name. We didn't make the money, but now we know how to do this. And it's actually a better grass now that we've kind of refined our. No, I'm serious. It's better grass.
People are
Either
eating this
They
up.
might have bought out on that, but we have a different strain now. It's almost like saying, like, okay, well, I have the sativa that'll kick your ass. And we say, okay, well, that's fine. You could own that. Now we have an indica. You might have bought that out, but now we have a different strain of this product. So it's not the same stuff. And the idea was that
we
we
can
were gonna,
keep drinking as
but-
long as we have these
but-
dumbass
but-
conversations.
But also, we can't talk a lot about this because if any of these companies catch wind of what we are doing, then once again, like, because look, the lawn mowing business is a huge business. John Deere, lawn boys existed for all this time, but do you really need to cut the grass is the question.
We're
Isn't
saying
there
no.
a way? No.
We're saying people are tired of this, man.
Right.
We're
Look,
not here to
you
challenge you guys, but we're here doing what we do for the same industry.
You can grow an oak tree. Do you realize that most bonsais are a direct descendant of an oak tree? So this oak tree doesn't have to go 100 feet up. This oak tree can be 5 inches tall for its entire life. This is the same principle. So this works. Okay, so this actually, this strategy, either through bullshit that they actually thought that we knew what we were doing, or
no, because
from the
we
fact,
talk for a living. So you understand, these people don't speak for a living. They do scientific, smart stuff for a living. The fact that our thing is proprietary, they understand we cannot go on, but we can bullshit you for the rest
like
of this
Toro
conversation.
or something like that. They're doing like weed eaters and selling other stuff. They don't care. Like they're just, we're just hanging out.
They'll work for us in 5 years.
These are all conversations that we're having in between the conversations we're having. You know what I mean?
Right.
Filler, not like this. We're holding court. It's just if anyone asks, this is the angle.
This is what we do.
We've already strategized. We know what we're doing.
Keep in mind, we are getting messed up. We are, because again,
this is an open bar,
and the beer is everywhere.
Just getting, and not only that, but we're in the sun in Seattle for the first time in a while, so we're getting shit-faced.
Right.
Basically, there's a beer tub girl flirting with her, having a great time. Like, this is great. So in the midst of something, and I'm not sure what it was, just to give you an idea how crap works, but so we pulled this off. Fantastically. The bartenders are laughing at us. They know the jig. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like sitting there going like, all right, well, these guys, they know what we're doing. They don't care. It's paid for.
Yeah.
Like, the hotel's paid.
They're being entertained because they know we're full of crap. So just to watch us work our magic and all these people so bullshit about some grass that doesn't grow, whatever the hell it was.
So, but now we're 2.5 hours deep, 3 hours deep. And then we start just, and for whatever reason, we started, I don't know how tongue twisters got brought up. We started doing tongue twisters, and they were really hard. And we thought, okay.
Because we were really drunk.
We were really drunk at this point in time. And so we were like, well, what if we challenged Ted to do tongue twisters on the air? And first, immediately, I'm like.
But it has to be a dirty word.
There's no f***ing way. And the reason is because it's just too dangerous to do on the radio because you don't want to.
This is not true. That night, we thought that this is a home run. This is the funniest thing I've heard. You called me the next morning, and we were feeling like death. So even when I pick up the phone, I just hear Miles, and he's like, hey, man, remember that idea we had last night? I'm like, yeah, the tongue twisters. You said that.
And by the way, that's why we go out, to come up with these ideas. Yeah. Every once in a while, lightning strikes. Sometimes it doesn't.
But he said, there's no way we can do it. And I'm like, man, maybe not. But I love the idea so much. Why don't we just ask the boss, right? We'll go in. He'll probably shoot it down. But let's run it by him. So we walk in and we see the boss. And we explain to him how we came up with it. And he's just shaking our head like, man, we just got messed up. Pretended we worked for Kimlon. He's like, you did what? I said, don't worry about it, man. Just, it's fine. Probably no lawsuit. Who the hell knows? But the idea is a tongue twister, and obviously if you screw up, it'd be a terrible word. So he looks at us for a second. And he goes, well, would you just dump it if he says the bad word? We said, well, yeah, of course.
No.
Go ahead.
What do you, so.
Ted versus the FCC was born.
That's it. Ted versus the FCC.
We got hammered.
So, okay. So we've been doing this now for at least 10 years. Okay. What would you guess, Mike, is the only word in the English language? Just so you know, because we honest to God, we make fun of the fact that we're up all night doing trucker speed and all this crap, but we're not. You submit Ted versus the FCC. So just so you know, in case you do, all right, the only word, you could be a runt, you could be a trucker, you could be a lot of things.
You could be a mother trucker.
You could be a mother trucker.
You can suck a dock.
You
can suck on cork.
Yeah, your runt can do all kinds of things. What is the only slip that we're not allowed to use?
Oh, Digger Nick.
Digger Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Digger. So the only thing.
Keep in mind, though, for the first 9.5 years of this 10-year run, Digger Nick made many appearances.
Right. So now we're facing the fact, even though there's the 7 words that you can't say, and obviously that's not, but the worst offender. Like we could say cluck, chuck, rock, truck, buck, lock.
Right.
Crock.
Suck the cork.
Suck a cork. He's a cork soaker. The only word that we can't rhyme now is anything that rhymes with trigger. So this is how far we've come.
But it's what makes me laugh. I'm the only black dude here.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Why not? And
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
So,
if
like,
I'm not the
yeah.
authority on that, and it's always a weird thing when you sit there and you have other people like speaking on your behalf. I'm like, yeah, but boss, it doesn't bug me because we understand what it is. He said, man, and he made sense. He goes, it's not you. He said,
But
it's
here's
just
the problem.
right now
Yeah.
in this particular world. He's like, people, they don't
but
care about
nobody-
any other thing
Yeah,
you
but-
say.
but-
If it's Dig or Nick, this is a problem.
We never had a complaint about, like, blunt runt
Mm.
from a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's ever said, like, oh, don't do that.
We've never had a problem with Dig or Nick from a black person.
No. I mean, think about that.
Right.
Think about how the way the world works. So here we are. But that's how Ted versus the FCC came about. Honestly,
That's how most of the
it was a
stuff comes
night
about.
where, and trust me, we don't try to scam bartenders. We don't try to scam restaurants. If anything, we try to tip overly and give back because you know what?
This was a convention.
That's our favorite social environment to be in. But as soon as you see this opportunity, you're like, oh man,
It's free
game
booze.
on.
It was free. And look,
Game on.
here's the thing about it. And this is not about people in their industry in particular. It's probably most people on earth. For the amount of booze that they make available, these things, and I understand it. It's part of its show, right? So you got all the bottles around, all the beer. They don't drink like we do. I mean, I don't know. It would be like going to a Brazilian steak restaurant for vegetarians. Like,
For example,
they're not
for
going to
example,
eat this.
You're at a convention, okay, and you go up to that little tiki bar they have there where there's one person serving drinks for everyone. There's a little bit of a line and whatever, right? Pro tip, when you go up, convention people are there and they're on the company dime. So all of this stuff is paid for. The last thing they do well is tip. So when you walk up to these people, if whoever's working, if it's a tub, eventually if we get there, just give them $20. If you get a $3 Miller High Life or a Miller Lite, give them $20. Nothing will ever be asked of you ever
No.
again. You'll go to the front of the line, they'll have the beer ready for you, and you're fine. By the way, you're not spending a dime.
Yeah, that's it. Just drop your 20.
Just
And
drop
after
your
that,
20.
the rest of the night is taken care of. In fact, you're the person that they defend from the bouncer if things get crazy. They go, no, he's okay. It must have been the other person. You go, yeah, damn right it was.
Yeah. And we walked out of there and we went back after that, never heard a word about it. No one complained. No one said, like, maybe somewhere out there's someone thinking to themselves, oh, I guess it never developed. Somebody must have bought them out on that grass train. Because,
Yeah, we laughed at you.
but don't think that isn't feasible.
Oh, I'm sure.
Don't think that for 1 minute that somebody out there can't genetically produce a grass that's an inch and a half tall. So it's like in a weird way, it's like, well, do that then.
That's
you
why
know?
it seemed feasible.
Exactly. All right. There's your greatest story never told. We labor in that grass. Grass it is.
Yes.
You've been listening to The Greatest Story Never Told with Miles and Thrill on radio.com.
A Double Flush production.